We're learning new details about President Trump's last-minute plane switch in Turkey after July's NATO summit. The decision was made because of a credible threat from Iran involving a missile. Several senior administration officials, along with journalists covering the White House, were unaware of the threat. They remained on Air Force One. Here's what the president said about the situation.
It's only up to Secret Service. I just follow what they'd like to do. So I go by Secret Service and the military. They wanted me to go on a different flight, a different plane, equal safety, but they wanted me to do it, so I do it. I do what they say.
CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us now. I mean, it's confusing because normally whatever plane the president is on is called Air Force One. In this case, it was the decoy plane because the plane he was actually on didn't have the Air Force One call sign. What more are we learning about the decision behind the swap and the threat that triggered it?
Well, we are learning that this decision was made while the president was at the NATO conference in Turkey. This threat that they got was considered actionable, so they put into motion this plan to use the decoy plane that the president would then fly on from Turkey to the UK. We know that this decision was now made in coordination with the National Security Council, the White House Military Office, and the Secret Service. It was not just a Secret Service decision, but it was all three of those groups coming together and thinking, what can we do in this case? We know that that aircraft switch was made as part of a misdirection effort, but it was not intended to put certain individuals at greater risk. And that part is important because we now know that the cabinet was split between these two aircraft. On the smaller military aircraft that the president was flying on, it was himself and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. On the Air Force One older traditional jet that normally the president flies on, we know that Secretary Marco Rubio and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent were on that plane. We also know where this information was now coming from, these credible threats that the U.S. was assessing. They had come from the NSA and the CIA here in the U.S., but they were also getting information from Turkey's intelligence agencies. So they're getting it from all of these sources, part of the reason why they made this decision. We should also note there is an ongoing threat from Iran to kill President Trump. We have heard that now from multiple agencies as well.
Olivia, also some other big news coming out of the White House. They are announcing the White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt is departing her role with the administration, really the face of their policies, defending the president, the administration. What do we know about the decision and what happens next?
Well, she announced a decision today. President Trump wrote on Truth Social that she will be leaving her post. She is the youngest press secretary in history, also the youngest woman to hold that role. We should note that. She just had her second baby in May. It was a daughter. She came back to work in mid-July, and then she wrote on her own social media that she felt in her heart she couldn't be the best mother to her two children and devote the time, energy, resources necessary to be the press secretary because, as you know, it's a very visible role in this administration, out there at the press briefing podium defending the administration's policies. Certainly requires a lot, but she felt at this moment in time she needed to take a step back, spend time with her family, but she maintained she will still be an outside advisor to President Trump.
Olivia Rinaldi, thank you.